Welcome to the deep dive, where we cut through the noise to get you the insights you really need. And hey, if you're loving these deep dives and want more incredible, mind expanding stuff like this, definitely make sure to visit Mind Expansion Daily. Yeah, you'll find a whole treasure trove of insights waiting for you there. And while you're at it, please do hit that like button, subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily. And look, if you appreciate what we're doing here, these deep dives we share, maybe consider buying us a coffee. The link to do that is right there in the description. It really helps us keep going. Okay, so today we're tackling a topic that's, well, it's as whimsical as it is profoundly serious, and maybe even a bit unsettling, actually. We're taking a deep dive into the beloved, yet let's face it, controversial figure of Ronald McDonald. And the big question, the one popping up in our sources today, is this. Is Ronald McDonald just an innocent icon, or is he, maybe metaphorically speaking, a mass murderer? Indirectly responsible for a huge public health crisis. We've gathered quite a stack here. Health studies, marketing critiques, lots of statistical data, trying to get to the bottom of this. It's complex.
It really is. And these sources, they challenge us, to really scrutinize the fast food industry's impact. Especially now. Global obesity rates are soaring, diet-related diseases are claiming millions of lives every year, and that trend looks set to continue right into 2025. So our mission today is, well, to explore Ronald's history, look at the undeniable health consequences tied to McDonald's food, and then, weigh that argument. Does this cheerful clown bear some indirect responsibility for what many are calling a public health catastrophe? It forces you to look past the makeup, doesn't it?
It really does. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. The birth of an icon, Ronald McDonald. He debuted back in 1963, created by Oscar Goldstein, a franchise owner in Washington, D.C. And here's a fun fact I actually picked up from the sources. He was first played by Willard Scott.
Willard Scott.
Yeah, the same guy who also played Bozo the Clown. I know, right? Fascinating connection there. Anyway, his early image, instantly recognizable. Red hair, yellow jumpsuit. He quickly became synonymous with Happy Meals, playgrounds, family outings. He even had his own whole world, McDonald Land, with characters like Grimace and the Hamburglar. It was all about creating this, magical, fun experience for kids.
And boy, was that magic effective.
Yeah.
Ronald's evolution was, well, pretty remarkable. He went from this live-action TV clown to a full-blown global brand ambassador. You saw him in commercials, at charity events, international parades, everywhere. Actors like Ray Rayner, Bob Brandon, they took over the role in the 70s, pushed his reach even further with animated ads, those McDonald Land play sets. McDonald's really perfected targeting their youngest customers. His popularity probably peaked in the 80s and 90s. The company just poured millions into marketing campaigns aimed squarely at children. And a Happy Meal, introduced in 79, that was just genius, wasn't it? Bundling toys with the meals. That strategy basically turned Ronald into a kind of Pied Piper, didn't it? Luring whole families in by appealing straight to the kids.
But then, the story takes a really interesting turn around the 2010s. Ronald's presence, which used to be everywhere, started to really shrink significantly. Part of it, apparently, was this rising clown phobia, made worse by movies like Stephen King's It.
Right, the creepy clown thing definitely didn't help.
Definitely not. But maybe more importantly, there were these growing health campaigns pushing back against junk food marketing to kids. That played a huge role, too. So now, today, Ronald's more of a nostalgic figure, primarily linked with the Ronald McDonald House Charities, the RMHC. They provide housing for families with sick kids. So quite a shift, huh? From top salesman to charity figurehead.
It is quite a shift. And, if you zoom out, critics argue that this whole philanthropic arm, it's maybe less about pure goodwill and more of a strategic move. A way to sort of mask the brand's health harms, shift public perception.
Like a reputation buffer.
It's exactly. By linking Ronald so strongly with this positive charitable cause, McDonald's has, well, pretty adeptly navigated years of mounting criticism. They've kept his iconic status while kind of subtly repositioning him. He becomes this symbol of corporate responsibility, not just a fast food marketer.
Which leads us right into the ethical deep end, doesn't it? The marketing to children. This seems to be the absolute core of that mass murderer theory, right? Ronald's main job was marketing to kids, and we know kids are just incredibly vulnerable to advertising. And get this statistic, this one really jumped out from the sources, 40%. 40% of McDonald's advertising budget targets kids.
40%, that's huge.
It's a staggering figure, especially when you think about the ethical side. Critics, like the group Corporate Accountability, they flat out accuse McDonald's of exploiting philanthropy through RMHC, while at the very same time aggressively pushing unhealthy foods. There was even a 2013 report showing McDonald's targeting schools, which actually violated their own self-regulatory pledges about advertising there. So it sounds like critics are saying he wasn't just selling burgers, he was like engineering eating habits for generations.
That's a really critical point. I mean, yes, personal choice, parental guidance, those are factors, absolutely. But the research we looked at, it really zeroes in on the almost irresistible pull of marketing aimed specifically at children. What these studies unpack isn't just kids like the ads. It's that this early targeted exposure fundamentally rewires their preferences, their habits for life. They're basically cultivating brand loyalists before kids can even understand a nutrition label.
That's right.
It is. We see studies showing exposure to fast food marketing ramps up brand preferences and how much they eat among kids aged 10 to 17. And the Happy Meal itself, heavily criticized for high sugar, high fat, it undeniably contributes to adolescent obesity. Ethical concerns really boiled over around 2011. Health advocates actually called for Ronald's retirement, called him grotesque, a danger to public health. There was a blog post in 2010 that argued pretty forcefully that marketing to children implies fast food is suitable for them, despite all the health evidence saying otherwise.
Right. But McDonald's pushes back. Yeah, they point to healthier options, adding apple slices, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that a real change, or do the sources see it as more strategic damage control?
Well, the sources are kind of split on that. The menu changes, yes, they happened. They're real. But critics, like Tom Watson back in 2019, argue it just doesn't go far enough, not even close. They claim these healthy campaigns often just serve to mask the continued, really aggressive promotion of their core, less healthy items. So it normalizes fast food from a young age. It's maybe less a fundamental shift, more a strategic tweak to public perception, which, ironically, might even amplify Ronald's perceived role in the health crisis instead of truly lessening it.
And what are the actual results? Let's talk about the health costs. The undeniable health costs of this fast food revolution, McDonald's really spearheaded. I mean, the data seems clear. Fast food consumption is directly linked to higher BMI, weight gain, generally poor diet quality. Some studies even showed that just living closer to fast food places increases your risk of obesity.
The proximity factor, yeah.
And think about this projection. By 2025, that's just around the corner, nearly 1 in 5 adults globally, men and women, expected to be affected by junk food-induced obesity. It's not just a number on a page, is it? It's a global health crisis picking up speed. It affects real people, real lives.
And the bigger picture, the broader implication is maybe even starker.
Yeah.
These ultra-processed foods, UPFs, which cover a lot of McDonald's items, they're tied to, get this, 32 different health conditions.
32.
32. We're talking heart disease, diabetes, even early death. A very recent 2025 study had a really sobering finding. Just a 10% increase in how much ultra-processed food you eat. Just 10%. This can raise your risk of premature death by 3%.
Wow. Only 10%.
Yeah, just how even small shifts in our diet can have these huge long-term consequences. And the scale is just mind-boggling. Diet-related diseases projected to cause 41 million deaths annually from non-communicable diseases in 2025. 41 million.
Yeah.
And just to make it concrete, one McDonald's Big Mac, 540 calories, 25 grams of fat, eating stuff like that frequently is correlated with metabolic syndrome, even mental health issues.
So, okay, what does this mean day to day? In the U.S., fast food still makes up about 12% of daily calories. That's significant. And it's still fueling obesity rates sitting at a worrying 42%. And globally, McDonald's has over 39,000 restaurants. They serve 69 million people every single day.
69 million daily.
That reach, it just undeniably amplifies the impact on public health, right? It creates this cycle that's incredibly tough to break, which brings us back then to really deconstructing this mass murderer theory. Okay, the term itself, yes, it's provocative. Hyperbolic, maybe. But the sources suggest it's rooted in serious debates about corporate accountability.
Right, it's not meant literally in a criminal sense.
Exactly. The metaphor is that McDonald's is accused of indirect harm, kind of like the liability tobacco companies eventually faced for smoking deaths. Critics draw these parallels. Just like tobacco marketing hooked people for life, maybe fast food marketing creates this cradle-to-grave loyalty, leading ultimately to chronic diseases down the line. There was even a 2021 study showing McDonald's uses health themes in its ads more in richer countries.
Which could be seen as a way to mask nutritional issues while still pushing the core menu. Yeah. And what really lends weight to this provocative claim is the sheer scale we were just talking about.
Sure.
Diet-related illnesses cause 11 million deaths every year. 11 million. And UPFs, like fast food, are a major contributor to that number.
Yeah.
So as the world's biggest fast food chain, McDonald's arguably bears a kind of outsized responsibility for this global health burden. A 2013 study even correlated McDonald's density, how many restaurants there are in an area with obesity prevalence worldwide.
So the link is geographically visible too.
It seems so. Again, to be clear, it's not murder legally. But the theory highlights these systemic problems. Aggressive marketing, especially targeting vulnerable kids, which just perpetuates a cycle of poor health.
Yeah.
And circling back to RMHC, the charity, critics see Ronald's work there, which, by the way, only gets about 10% of its funding directly from McDonald's Corporation.
Only 10%. Really?
According to the sources, yes. So critics see it less as offsetting harm and more as a strategic PR shield. It raises real questions about the motives behind corporate giving when it's tied so closely to the brand image.
Of course, there are counter-arguments. Defenders say, look, personal choice matters, and McDonald's has introduced healthier options. That mitigates the blame. But is that really a fair balance? Especially when you look at trends like childhood obesity tripling since 1975. It suggests the influence of this pervasive marketing and easy access is just massive. Feels like an uneven fight.
That's exactly the tension, isn't it? This whole debate, this theory, it exposes some really uncomfortable truths about consumerism, about public health, fast food culture, and Ronald McDonald is arguably its most famous face. It promotes overconsumption right in the middle of a global obesity epidemic, affecting over 1 billion people now.
A billion.
1 billion people. It fundamentally challenges how we look at our food systems, and it raises these critical questions about corporate ethics. Should mascots like Ronald be retired, like those health advocates demanded back in 2010? We are seeing some changes, like regulations banning junk food ads to kids in places like the UK. That shows growing societal scrutiny.
So there's some movement.
There is. And McDonald's has responded with menu changes, healthier options, like we said. But critics consistently say it's not enough. They demand more fundamental changes, particularly ending all child-targeted marketing. Because this isn't just about, what's in the burger. It's about the powerful mechanisms of influence that shape our eating choices right from the start.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Ronald McDonald. He was once this seemingly innocent symbol of childhood fun, right? But now he really embodies this incredibly contentious debate about fast food's heavy toll on health. That mass murderer theory, okay, it's sensational, sure, but it forces us to grapple with a deeper ethical issue. Where does aggressive marketing cross the line into actually causing societal harm? And how do we measure corporate responsibility when the damage isn't one single event, but this slow, cumulative public health crisis?
Yeah.
The evidence we've unpacked today, well, it seems to lean towards some level of complicity, doesn't it? It really urges us to rethink our own fast food habits. So, is Ronald a villain? Or just a victim of corporate strategy himself? What do you think?
It's a lot to chew on.
And maybe that begs this final question for you to consider. If brands can, even inadvertently, contribute so significantly to public health crises, what's the true measure of their corporate responsibility? Does it go beyond just following the letter of the law? And what should society actually demand from them? We would genuinely love to hear your views on this. Do you agree, disagree? What part of this discussion stood out most to why you? Please leave a comment below and let us know. And hey, as we're trying to increase our reach worldwide, maybe also list the location you're listening from. We'd love to see how far the deep dive is reaching. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily for more fascinating insights like this one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, if you got something out of it, please consider buying us that coffee. The link, again, is in the description. Thanks so much for tuning in to The Deep Dive.